You know, no matter how many times I've written a script, the hardest part is never the actual ideas. You know, the actual stuff I'm talking about, the 3 reasons that support my thesis and therefore brings me to this conclusion. The meat and potatoes of this stew I'm concocting. It's the filler, the chopped onions, the bits of carrots, the burnt bits at the bottom of the pan. I hear that's called fawn, by the way. It's the introduction I struggle with. I will spend hours trying to formulate a single coherent sentence that I can have something to start the video on. Not this one. In my sleep-deprived and hungry state, all you're gonna get is this. So you're an introvert, huh? Now, if I was a betting man, I'd say you probably clicked on this video because you too are an introvert. Either that or you're some voyeuristic freak who gets off watching us socially inept. I have lived for 21 years, and for those 21 years of life, I have always been an introvert. Not because of bullying, though that's not to say that bullying has never happened. Just watch this video. I was just born this way. I like having some alone time, whether it's to read, draw, think up OCs, and develop the stories in my head, or to reflect. How would I do things differently? What are my values? How can I improve? How do I do better? I want to be a much kinder and gentler person. I want to be a stronger person. I know what it's like to be that one kid who sits at the empty table by himself. It's not a good feeling, especially when you have kids making quick glances at you, snickering, and saying stuff to their friends. But you want to know what's worse than sitting by yourself? Sitting at a table with other lonely Asian kids. Not because we liked each other. In fact, we didn't even know each other. We all sat there because of 2 things. Because we were Asian, and none of us wanted to be that one kid who sits at an empty table by himself. Yeah, it's just as pathetic as it sounds. And looking back on it, we could have used that common experience to form a beautiful friendship, but little Johnny couldn't wait to go home and watch anime. I sorta hate myself. Being an introvert impacted the way I developed friendships. In elementary school, making friends is easy. You just have to have the same interests and bam, it's like you've been friends for decades. Oh, you like Pokemon too? My favorite's it's Mao. What's yours? Oh, you like Charizard? Well, that's a classic. Everybody likes Charizard. I think this is the start of a very beautiful friendship. And next thing you know, half the boys have scars on their hands because you convinced them into doing the eraser challenge. But every single friendship I've made after elementary school was just by chance. People who were more confident than me who decided to speak up first, which then led me to befriend them and their friends. And before I know it, I have this huge circle of friends, which you might be saying, what's wrong with that? You have all these friends. Isn't that a good thing? Well, it's a good thing and all, but I'm not a high school anymore. A lot of these people I haven't kept in contact with, and I'm a college student now. And because I've never learned how to make friends, I've regressed back into the introvert I once was. I have like 5 friends and a couple associates. By the way, that's how you know you are an introvert. You use the word associate. People who you're close enough to talk to, but would never invite them over to your house. You know, I'm never gonna ask you for a ride, or pick you up from an airport, or you wanna sip from my drink? Yeah, I would prefer if you use a straw. Being an introvert affects how I talk to chicks, which, what I mean by that is, I rarely do. But seriously though, there's been 2 separate occasions where a girl I've talked to has given me her number, and both time I'm like, oh, thank you, and I freeze up. And as an introvert, I do what introverts do best, which is to overthink things. Why'd she give me her number? What do I do? No, put yourself together, just think. Why would she ever think for you? Look at yourself. There's absolutely nothing redeemable about you. She knows you're doing horrible in this class. You went swimming before the class, so you smell like chlorine. Look at the way you're dressed. You literally came to school in the outfit you went to bed in. But I'm not that bad, you know? Those problems are all skin deep. I can fix that. I can be like an 8 on a good day. In your fucking dreams, you are an 8. Okay, I think I have a solution. I'm gonna go home and sleep on it. Man, I still got their numbers on my phone. And now, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, what made you into the strong, confident, and handsome man you are today? Well, let's say my training was a little unorthodox. Here are 3 things I did. Number 1, confidence and perception is key. For me, this was with my first job, taking orders at Taco John's. See, even though I'm an introvert, you tend to care what other people think of you. However, by working at Taco John's, it forced me to interact with customers constantly, and over time, I found it increasingly frustrating, eventually leading me to realize that the average customer was very, very dumb. and gross. At some point, I no longer saw myself as someone taking orders, but rather as someone dumping food into a trough, feeding them like the goddamn animals they are. The key isn't to boost confidence and perception, but to maintain your confidence and lower your perception of others. Number 2, fake it till you make it. If you struggle with confidence, sometimes all it takes is creating a false sense of bravado. For example, I went through a phase where I watched a bunch of Sunny in Philadelphia clips, most of them involving Dennis, because he was my favorite. I thought the funniest thing I could do was to fake having a god complex. By pretending to have this over-the-top confidence, I started projecting this aura of self-confidence. Suddenly, minor inconveniences became opportunities to reinforce this persona. During days when spicy chicken sandwiches was being served for lunch, someone tells me I can't cut in line, I would turn around and be like, "Oh, this spot was ordained to me by God." Maybe if you weren't a bitch-ass bitch, you wouldn't be standing there with your bottom lip quivering. However, be warned, your friends might take the joke too far, and in my case, they create an Instagram page proclaiming themselves to be a cult in my honor, gaining a small following of our peers, only to lose the password and probably be the likely reason why I'll never get a respectable job. And number 3, my life is like a video game. In video games, the way you level up skills is by grinding. In Skyrim, if you want to level up speech, you have to grind for it by talking and persuading NPCs. In other words, go outside and touch grass. To put yourself in situations where you have to talk to someone. The more you put yourself out there and challenge yourself, the more you grow. But me personally, I like to use persona as a basis. Get that charm up, you know what I'm saying? Being an introvert isn't a bad thing, it's just the way we are. It comes with its own set of strengths, but the thing is, you don't want to be a super introvert. Someone who's too afraid to speak to others, to put themselves out there. Living like that can make you miss out on some of the most important things in life. It's all about finding a balance. You don't have to be the life of the party, but you also don't want to isolate yourself to the point where you're missing out opportunities for meaningful connections. I like to use my alone time to improve myself, my art skills, and making videos like these for you, the audience. But I've also realized that when I'm feeling down, it's really nice to have someone I can count on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.